Is Captain Picard a superhero? Hi, I'm Jordan the Nerd of Gold, and I know that may seem like a weird question, but recently I released my list of definitional standards on who is and who isn't a superhero, and there's a lot of characters that I think are adjacent to or could be a superhero, then we don't really think of them like that, and I wanted to go through and test on which characters aren't and which are. I did the Jedi first, so I was like, I should choose the other big Star franchise, and I'm going to go with Captain Picard as my test on this front, because I think all Starfleet captains are very similar in a sense of like they have a lot of similarities beyond their personalities. So going with number one, do they have power / skills? Well, no Starfleet captain has like power. They are all very intelligent and have like doctoral level specialized skills, and they have a lot of security training on that front and tactical knowledge. So I'm going to go with yes, that does count, because I would say that's as on par with any like street level vigilante in terms of like tactical thinking on that front. Do they have secret identities? No, for the most part they do not. They have like disguises for missions, but they don't have secret identities. I would say they are pretty much as they present, because they live in a utopian society where that's not really necessary. Do they have a heroic identity? I would say yes. I would say that most people in the Federation space see Starfleet as a largely force of good for as far as public perception goes. And you know that when you're in trouble and you see a Starfleet ship coming by, you know they're going to help you out. So I would say yes, being a Starfleet captain counts as having a heroic identity, because you are a symbol of good to your people and you have a clear uniform on that front. Special headquarters, I would say that every ship counts on that front, because they have to be so intimately familiar with their ship, and their ship is large enough to house not just them but an entire crew, and sometimes even more, like family and civilian support on that front. So yes, I would say every Starfleet ship counts as a special location on that front, and you can say Starfleet headquarters counts on that front too, but I would say the ships are large enough to count as a special headquarters in that sense. Do they have rogues galleries, or does Picard? He does have some recurring villains throughout TNG, but I don't know if I would necessarily count them as super villains in the same sense. They are recurring villains, but some of them are parts of factions rather than being independent recurring villains. So I don't remember enough of them to count yes or no. So tell me yes or no in the comments on this front, because I am wondering that this one I'll list as a maybe. I'm not going to say yes or no on this one, just because I could see it going either way from what I do remember. But themed gear and / weapons, they usually carry a tricorder and phaser, and that is pretty standard for them. I will say yes. For the people, this is talking about the value system of superheroes, because superheroes typically live in a moral liminal space where they technically are criminals, but they act in the good of society. But Starfleet is a institution, and even though Picard does go against Starfleet orders at times, he is a company man on that front. So I would say no, that is not a point in his favor. And then we have iconic locations. So outside of the starship, I would say the only iconic location associated with Picard is probably going to be his family farm, and I don't count that, in the same sense that I wouldn't count Superman's family farm on that front. Like, it may be famous, but that's not like an iconic location in the same way that Batman and Gotham have that iconic location relationship, because I do think that's an important detail for superheroes. So I'm going to go with no. So that means they have the power and skill, a heroic identity, a special headquarters, themed gear. So that's 4 out of 8 markers, but that's not quite enough to qualify as a superhero. So let me know. Do you think I was right or wrong in my assessment on that front? Get in the comments and tell me. Are Starfleet captains superheroes?